So over the years, I've found out, sometimes through the hard way, that one of the best things that you can do for yourself is just simply to acknowledge where you're at right now, how you feel right now. Because doing so otherwise, to pretend that you're feeling one way when you're actually feeling another is, it kind of gets you nowhere. But at the same time, it gets you somewhere, because if you're lying to yourself about how you're feeling at the moment, you create a situation where you are going to be running circles around yourself, trying to follow the thought or trying to follow an ideal, trying to compulsively get away from the feeling that you are unwilling to accept. And that very action and that very course or that process of trying to get away from the feeling that you're feeling right here, right now, will always provide itself an opportunity for you to recognize what you're doing. Okay, so if you are feeling anxious about life and you are constantly avoiding this anxiety and you are trying to protect yourself from feeling that anxiety in the future by doing God knows what it is you're going to do. We do this in so many different ways. We try to fill our bank accounts beyond, what it is that we need to live a relatively comfortable life. Or we simply upgrade our lifestyles. Some of us jump from one career to the next, constantly feeling unsettled, or from one relationship to the next, constantly feeling unsettled. And what this does is it pretty much just sets up a situation where you can notice occurrences, patterns in your behavior. And it's like not noticing anything that is involved with your daily routine. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where there's like a red Volkswagen Beetle that drives by you every single day, but you're unaware of it because you're looking at your phone, or you're looking at your planner, or you're looking at God knows what. And then one day you just recognize that, oh, my neighbor owns a Volkswagen Beetle and it's red. But it took you 30 days of living in that neighborhood to recognize that. It took you a month. But it's the occurrence that allows you to recognize the patterns that are there over a course of time. And so what I'm trying to say is if you can short circuit that process by some means, by some thing or method that is available to you right now, what I'm saying is how you're feeling right now is that short circuit, is that shortcut to what is real right now. And so if you're feeling joy, notice the joy. Notice what that joy offers you or brings to you in your life, and be grateful for it. If you're sad and depressed or anxious, notice that sadness, that depression, that anxiety, and what it's offering you, perhaps what it's telling you, and be grateful for it. I would suggest not to avoid what is uncomfortable, and don't avoid what's pleasant or preferable. Sit with it. The best thing you can do if you're in a state of confusion, or if you're completely lost to yourself and to the world, in whatever way that may feel to you at the moment, is to just sit with how you feel right here, right now. Because that does two things. That short circuits that process of running around in circles to getting away from the feeling that you're feeling at the moment. And some people do run away from feeling joy because they're suspicious of it. They don't trust it. They know that it's going to go away at some point. And its opposite end of the spectrum will be met in sadness and unclarity, confusion, obscurity, cloudiness, whatever it is that you want to describe it as. So sit with it, And by sitting with it, you open yourself up to the next opportunity, which is to possibly see what that feeling is telling you right now. Maybe it's an echo from the past. Maybe your anxiety is an echo from the past, which has become habituated in you some way, from your upbringing, from the environment, from culture, from society in some way. And so by sitting with it and by accepting what you are feeling right now, you are opening yourself up to the availability of new information about yourself, and which can mitigate perhaps the next occurrence of sadness or the next occurrence of sorrow or anxiety. It's in my experience and my belief, we really don't want any of these feelings to go away. We don't not want to feel sadness. We don't not want to feel depression or anxiety. But rather, perhaps we're looking for a means to understand and interpret what these feelings are telling us. And that is very, very difficult to do if you're constantly running away from how you're feeling at the moment. So as all the great spiritual traditions, note in their own unique ways, the doorway to yourself and who you are is in this present moment. So you can practice being available to that insight and that depth of experience by simply accepting how you feel right now. I know this is very difficult sometimes to do this. Sometimes there's challenges and things that we can't see occurring, which require somebody else perhaps to look at us from another point of view. And so it's my great pleasure in my life now, and my calling, my vocation is, in a sense, to help people discover who they are so that they too can play their own role in the world as they see fit. And that role is always evolving and deepening and expressing itself organically in its own way. And yet sometimes we don't see that we are already playing our role in the world. We're living life in an unconscious way and, compulsively acting through the wants and desires that may not be ours at all. It might be somebody else's, society's, our parents, our friends, our peers, colleagues, whoever. And yet, that inability to see the makeup of our desires, the nature of our desires, and I'm not saying desires are wrong, but being inaccessible to the mechanisms of what makes us tick has us leading to believe that we're not playing our role, that our role is somehow outside of ourselves, waiting to be, had or discovered or acquired some other way. But I'm here to tell you that you're always playing your role. And so if any of this resonates with you, and if you find as though you want to talk to somebody about your role or any struggle that you may be having, or perhaps you're ecstatic and wanting to share your enthusiasm, I do have a link in the description below. If you follow that link, it will bring you to a calendar with some available times. And pick one of those times if you feel so called, and we can chat. We can see if I can help you and if we mesh well together. If there's something that I can do to help you along your own path of self-inquiry or self-discovery, I would love to give you that chance, to give myself that chance to play my role in the world, my constantly evolving role in the world, and we can go from there. Otherwise, thank you for joining me on this wonderful day. I'm blessed to be, surrounded by this beauty, this wonderful lake in Maine, and I hope you too feel blessed wherever you are.